Stop your car now! Stop your vehicle! We've seen enough!
Control, this is 4221.
4221 QSK.
We're pursuing a Nissan Silvia. Subject is traveling westbound through Bayview Park.
4221 is in pursuit of a Nissan Silvia. The subject is heading westbound through Bayview Park. There it is. We're back in chase. They broke free. QSL 4222, what is your location of travel now? Now heading westbound on Signature Lane. QSL, now heading westbound on Signature Lane.
Control, send me a 15.
QRU, no units available to respond.
They're slowing down. QRX. Our vehicle's taking damage from the subject here. Subject just took a hard fall. Not sure how they're still driving.
Stop the car now!
Now heading eastbound on Signature Lane.
QSL 4221.
Control, requesting additional units.
No units are nearby to help out. QRU on request.
Now heading westbound on Terrell Street.
QSL now heading westbound on Terrell Street.
We just hit him hard, Control. Joining the pursuit.
QSL got it.
Just struck the subject, Control. I just dented their panels, Control. They're not stopping, though.
I'm warning you. Stop that car!
Control, we're running out of units here. Can we get some backup?
QRU, there are no units close by to help out.
They're slowing down. QRX. Blockade coming up. QRX. We need a new primary. Subject just outran us.
4222, we're right on them. We're the lead now. QSL.
4221, 4221, I can see them. Assuming pursuit.
Be advised, 4221 has resumed pursuit of the subject.
Subject vehicle is out of sight.
Control, I've lost the subject. Last seen heading westbound through Bayview Park.
All units within Bayview Park begin street-by-street search. Report all sightings. Over.
Do not move.
This is 4220. I've got visual. Resuming pursuit.
Be advised, 4220 is back in pursuit of the subject. Gonna try to pit the subject.
Now heading eastbound, approaching the Clem water treatment plant.
QSL, now eastbound, approaching the Kleb water treatment plant.
Control, we're responding to pursuit.
Okay, QSL 4221.
Subject 4223, we've got eyes on the subject vehicle.
All units, 4223 is back in pursuit of the subject. Control, we need more units here.
4223, we've got eyes on the subject.
Be advised, 4223 has resumed pursuit of the subject.
We're out of pursuit, Control. Our unit is taking a beating. They just had a 32 with a civilian car. This is it. We got them. We buckled their panel in.
What's the status?
We're back in pursuit. The subject is still at large.
4222 assisting pursuit. All right, QSL.
Now heading westbound, approaching Rockville.
QSL now heading westbound to Rockville.
Truck driver, stop your car now.
What is your location of travel now?
Now heading westbound through Rockville.
Copy. QSL 4221.
Subject just took a hard landing, Control.
What's your QTH now?
Now heading southbound by the Kraken Stone Quarry.
QSL, now heading southbound by the Kraken Stone Quarry.
Control, requesting a 15. We're running thin out here.
Help for ongoing pursuit is incoming. QRX. 4222, code 3, joining the pursuit. Okay, QSL 4222. Please provide QTH update.
Now heading eastbound through Rockville.
QSL, now eastbound through Rockville.
Stop your vehicle!
Now heading southbound, approaching Fort Callahan.
QSL, now southbound through Fort Callahan.
Subject just took out a traffic vehicle. Control, send me a 15. Any units available?
QRX, backup is inbound. There it is. Subject is fleeing. QSL 4222, what is your QTH now? Now heading northbound through Fort Callahan. Copy, QSL 4222.
4221, our vehicle's wrecked. Pursuit is 07.
Copy, QSL.
We just hit the subject. We're on him, we're on him. Failure on the arrest. We couldn't stop them.
QSL. 4221, please provide QTH update.
Now heading eastbound through Fort Callahan.
QSL, now heading eastbound through Fort Callahan.
Remain where you are.
We see them. We're in pursuit.
All units, 4223 is back in pursuit of the subject.
Looks like the subject is panicking, Control.
Here we go. (4222), any updates? We failed to apprehend them, Control. We're still in a chase.
This is Air 1, we're above the pursuit.
Okay, Air 1. Attempting to ram the subject vehicle. Control, we hit the subject vehicle. We just collided with the subject.
Pursuit subject is all over the place.
Don't let him slip. Subject vehicle is still mobile. QSL, all units, still code 3.
Can you send me a 15?
QRX.
We're trying to soften them up a bit.
Coming up. I'm on him.
Nissan driver, stop your car now.
Failure on the arrest, Control. They're still at large.
Okay, QSL.
Control, they're getting away. I can no longer see them.
This is 4222, we see them. Control, we can't see the subject vehicle anymore. Lost visual. Be advised, eyes on the subject has been lost. Start searching the last known location of the subject. Subject has been lost. Pursuit is in 07. Return to patrol.
QSL control, show me a 12.
QSL.
Look at him going in.
I'm in pursuit. I was hoping I'd get to shake down some punk tonight.
Got a driver out there that needs taken down. I want everyone to join in.
Lost sight of the suspect.
I want that driver found. No excuses. Gone, so screw it. Let me see if I can get some race events on social media I can send you to instead.
Copy, Control. So much for putting this one in.
On the subject's car again. The chase is on.
Snap back to reality. We got the hunt back up and running. Flip on the sirens and get after them. Check everywhere. I'm ending this pursuit. Get back to patrol.
Next time they won't be so lucky. Okay, back to work, everyone.
Spotted the asshole again. Let's get him.
Just picked up the chase from before. Now let's end it the correct way.
This driver is relentless. High-speed trackers joining the chase. Everyone stay on my 6. I've got what it takes to take him down.
Suspect managed to outpace my car. I'm falling behind.
Found him.
Spikes in the road up ahead. Keep an eye out for them.
Copy. Suspect ran me off the road. Pursuit slipping away.
That driver's got to be nearby. Get looking. Screw it, let him go. Don't be surprised if you see that on your social media feed in the morning.
Are you serious? We're letting him go now? I did not sign up for a shit show like this.
asshole.
Well, if it isn't the numbskull again. I thought we scared him enough already. Guess we're gonna have to take this to the next level.
They're drawn to the attention you've given them. Come on, move it, everyone. I want them caught this time.
I don't have eyes on the suspect's car.
Keep your eyes open. Suspect is still out there.
Don't try to run.
Control, I've got the suspect in view.
Get ready, here I come.
Hey, try not to run over the spike strips we're setting up, okay?
Made good impact, but they're still rolling.
I just had this thing tuned up. Now let's go! My ride's too smashed up to continue pursuit.
Copy.
My car won't start after the last impact with suspect vehicle. I'm out.
Get out there and find that damn car. Nobody's got eyes on the suspect, so I'm calling it a wash.
Copy, Control. Shutting down pursuit of subject vehicle.
You were like a wildcat out there.
You having fun out there with the league? Oh, how'd you afford this machine? You been holding out on me? Just kidding. Hello, beautiful. I'm talking to the car.
Yo, yo, yo. You should be able to hear me. Alright, let's go. A safe bet is V6 or a V8. Depends on what you're doing. So if you're going a day build, you're probably better off going V6. If you're going night and you're going to be doing night races and getting heat, do a V8 just because you have a more top speed and your level will be higher. So with the V6 your standard's 344 level, and then with a V8 you're 347. So when you upgrade your parts you're going to be losing that level if you're using the drift build. You always kind of want to be as close as you can to 400. So let's go V6. The 3.8 litre V6 is probably better. Whatever you're using, so if you've got super unlocked, everything's going to be the same. So it doesn't matter what parts you're building, it's just going to increase that level of your car, which doesn't really matter when you're going for a drift build. Dual turbo is usually better for an overall, like a balanced build, but if you're trying to get more points, you're probably better off going with a turbocharger. That's going to increase your torque. And then when looking at parts, so usually you'd go drag tires is really good. Basic build would be drag tires. If you're trying to get more of a score, you'd go speedcross. Speedcross will give you grip off-road, but it's going to lessen your grip on-road. So if you're trying to get you'll see on this box how you've got race, off-road, drift, and road. Speed cross will always put you close to that drift bar. So let's just go with it normal. We'll just go drag tires for now. All it's going to do is drag's going to give you a lot more grip, so you're going to have more control in your drifts, whereas your speed cross is going to be harder to control, but you're going to be more slippery. So your score's going to increase faster than if you've got drift tires, but your traction is going to be a lot less, so it's going to be a lot less easy to control. So we go drag tires, and it's good. Drag tires are good for night just because it increases your acceleration so much. Sport brake or pro brake's probably the way to go. That's gonna, when you're in a drift, you'll be able to use your brake and it's not gonna stop you. If you've got elite brakes on and you brake during a drift, it's gonna slow you down a lot. Yeah, what's good, everyone? Yeah, so elite brakes is just gonna slow you down. If you're going for high heat, so if you're going for, like if you do a 3 mil rep night, you're gonna want more brakes, because when you're dealing with rhinos and roadblocks, it's way better to have brakes than no brakes. But yeah, sports brakes usually the way to go. Sport brakes or pro brakes. With suspension, suspension is going to be different with every car. So a car that has more turning angle, you're going to want, so a green drift suspension is going to give you less angle than a blue. And then if you're going into super, you're going to have speed cross. You don't actually, speed cross and showcase. You won't actually have a drift setup. Showcase is going to give you more grip than a drift suspension. Not more grip, but it's going to lessen your angle in your drifts. So if you want sharper angles, which is going to increase your score points, you'd go with a blue drift suspension. If you need more grip and you're dealing with cops more, it's safer to go a showcase suspension. And you can just see in the box how much that's increasing. So see how it brings you closer to the road? So it's going to be less angle and you'll have more grip having those tires. But then remember that if you drop your drag tires to a speed cross, it's going to lessen that. So if you're going to showcase because you want less angle, then you can chuck speed cross tires on and it's going to be easier to control. You still won't have as much grip and as acceleration as the the drag tires, but you'll have, it's going to be balanced. So that's all you're trying to do, just keep it balanced. So we'll go blue drift suspension, sports brakes, drag tires. If drag tires aren't what you're feeling and you want to go speed cross, go a purple speed cross over a gold. That's going to give you, it's going to be less grippy having elite parts, and more grip if you've got gold. And then if you even want a little bit more grip, then you'd go blue. That's how it works. And then all that's doing is bringing it closer to race and drift. So if you have elite parts, it's going to bring you across the bar to drift. If you have blue or green parts, it's going to bring you closer to race. But it's always going to move you the same distance from road to off-road in that square. But we don't have can't actually change our tire pressure and everything, so that square is what you're going to want to base your build off when you're looking at your stats, and same with your acceleration and everything like that. Clutch is usually always elite, or whatever you've got the best of. Gearbox is kind of preference. If you're going a day build, you probably just go a 4-speed speed gearbox if you're using automatic. Or you can go a 5-speed gearbox. I just keep 5-speed because I'm usually running away from cops and it gives you more speed. It will increase your level. So I'm already sitting at 400 plus and I haven't really changed anything. So I'll keep our 5-speed gearbox. And then differential. Going a drift differential is going to make you redline more. A blue the same. And then speed cross is going to give you more grip. So your differential is going to be balanced out more, so it's going to have more of a race ratio than a drift ratio. But speed cross is what people usually run on a drift build, so it gives you less. So because you're going to be on the road, you'll have less grip, so your diff's kind of better. So people usually go a speed cross differential. And then having the drag tires is a balance as well. So like if I wanted to change to speed cross, I'd probably go a showcase differential, and that's just because it's bringing me back off the off-road. So if that dot's in the square and it's more to off-road, you're gonna have a lot less grip, which means a lot more points. So if you're going for high points, you want less grip. But if you just want a balanced build, then keep it in that square where it's in between road and drift. Now you can see that 4-speed and 5-speed doesn't really do that much. All it's going to do is change your gear ratio. Always run repair kits. And always run reduced damage. So that's a basic build. It's a super basic build, and it's safe to do that on most cars, depending. So if you're using a hypercar, you want to have less grip, so you're going to be using more speed cross parts and a higher drift, or you'd be using speed cross or showcase. You can see that drops. So if I drop to a showcase, it's going to drop me to 394, which means it's just going to be harder to get away from the cops pretty much. I always try to keep my builds over 400. So dropping it to a blue or a green, as you can see, it will. If I got a green, it will give me more grip, and it gives me a better, like 0 to 100. But that's about it. That's a super basic layout. And then, yeah, always using sports brakes or pro brakes. And let's go over here. Yeah, and then you see turbocharge will give you more horsepower. That's how you max it out, so this car can't have any more horsepower than that if you chuck on a turbo. That's super basic tune. Doesn't really matter what engine mods you have. I've just got Elite Plus because they're the best I've got at the moment. And then yeah, you can see that the difference between a V6 and a V8 really isn't that different. V6 gives you more torque. Oh yeah, that's a base layout you'd want to chuck on your cars, and then all you want to do if you need more grip, you go down. So if you wanted more grip or less angle, you'd go a green over a blue, and then same with your differential. If you don't want your differential to lock up as much, you just go a blue over a purple. See how that brings me onto the drift line? So having a purple differential is keeping me on the off-road to drift. If I change it to a speed cross differential that's blue, it's just going to give me a tiny bit more grip, and it's going to have me on that drift line. And then always using like more than one tank over the one tank of NOS, because you got way more control. And then, as I said, every car is going to be different. So you might chuck it. You might have the 180 set with, like blue drift suspension. You might chuck it on another car, and then you've got way too much angle. So all you want to do is change your suspension. We're going to do the same with this car. Just got basic V6. With the 350, a super basic tune, and what everyone usually goes to is just speed cross. And because it has more angle, you use a showcase suspension over a drift suspension. But as you can see, that's so if I've got that's right in the middle of the drift and race, or drift and road. So if I change that to drift suspension, it's going to bring me down. So if I want to go a full-blown drift build, I don't really care about my level, then I'd chuck my blue suspension on, and that's going to get me more points than if I had the purple suspension on. Same with brakes. Sports or pro doesn't really matter. And then same always, tires are always the same. You either go speed cross if you want something more slippery, and then drift if you drift just helps you grip in your drifts more so than sliding. And then always your best clutch. And then same with your gearbox. So if I drop my gearbox, it's going to go to 5, but I'm going to have better gear ratio. So I can put on a 5-speed gearbox. Damage reduction. And then always repair kits. You can put NOS, so if you want more NOS, then you'd put on your... there's a NOS that you can get that refills from drifting. So if you're pumping through your NOS heaps, or if you only got 3 tanks of NOS, if you don't have the elite parts, you can put the NOS drifting in, and that's just going to build up your tanks a lot more. And then, so say I wasn't happy with the level 347, just chuck green suspension on. It's going to level me up a little bit, but I'm going to have a little bit more grip. So my points won't score, like when I'm drifting, my score won't go up as much. That's another basic tune. Same deal, V6 or V6 or V8 usually the best to go. Or flat 6, or depends on your preference. V6 is good because it's a good middle ground, so you won't have too much power and it's going to be easy to control in your group, like in your drifts and stuff. But if you're running away from cops, your speed's not going to be like you're not going to be as quick. So Corvettes and stuff are going to be a pain in the ass. Then same thing. Go a green suspension if you want a grippy build. If you want something a bit more aggressive, you'd go blue. Always the same brakes, Sport or Pro. Always the same tires. Speed cross is better than drift though. Don't use drift tires because it's just going to be too hard to control. Just go speed cross if you want more sliding, or you go drift tires if you want more grip. And then you'll always be... Good thing about drift tires is, I meant the drag tires, is it's like doing a burnout all the time. Elite clutch always. Gearbox, same, it's preference. If you want like your gear ratio to be... If you want your gear ratio to be more balanced, you'd go a 4-speed. Some cars don't even have a sport 4-speed gearbox, but you go 4-speed over a 5-speed. But 5-speed's a good middle ground, especially if you're doing night drifting. And then drift, your differential. Usually showcase or speed cross. Some cars struggle if the car's like a... If you're using a hypercar or a supercar, you're usually going to go a drift differential because it's going to help with your angle, because those cars don't have as much angle as these other cars. We'll go speed cross. Then same thing if you're trying to hit as close as you can to the level 400, then you're just going to lower that to, so Showcase will give you more grip than the Speed Cross, or you just drop to a blue over a purple mod. And yeah, always the same per kit. And reduce damage. The stance doesn't actually really change anything. You can camber as much as you want. I usually go 3 to the right with the front. Usually go 1 with the back. It's good to buy the part as well, so if you're tossing up between 2 parts, buy both, and then you can always change your performance in your start menu. So you do a race if you need more angle, or if you've got if you've got like blue drift suspension, you got way too much angle, change it to a drift, like the green drift suspension. If you want even more traction, then you'd be using a Showcase suspension. As you can see, it brings you closer to the road and it will up your power a little bit. And then with live tunes, rule of thumb is usually always as low downforce as you can get. You want your drift style to be braking, not gas. And sensitivity is usually all the way high, depending on the car. So if the car's got heaps of angle, sometimes you can run the same build, but just change your sensitivity so you might notch it down 1 or 2. And then the drift, all you have to do is hold like your brake, so L2 just before you drift. Make sure you're braking before your turns though, so you'll get heaps of rubber bandy if you're braking after you tried to start drifting. So you're better off braking hard before, and it's going to ratio your gearbox out. So if you're using an automatic gearbox, easy way to downshift is just by tapping square in the brake. If you tap it twice, it's going to downshift. See that? I'm in 2, if I'm in 3, just hold L2 and square and it's going to down gear you. Then having your, so I'll give you an example for the brakes. So we're running the lowest brakes. If I chuck on elite brakes, it's just going to make my braking a lot more aggressive. So before I could tap the brake and it won't really do anything in your drift. You can maintain your drift easier by just tapping the brake. If I've got my elite brakes on, it's going to slow me down a lot more. And you're going to lose momentum more so than if you've got green drift suspension, green brakes or blue brakes on. Yeah, what's good, bro? But yeah, that's a super basic layout you can run on every car. It's just that depending on how much angle the car has, you might want to change your suspension. You usually keep everything the same. So you always keep your tires the same, always keep your differential the same. If you're going for more grip, then you can drop your, if you're going for less grip, drop your drag tires for speed cross. I should have some. You see, that's a lot more slippery. Harder to control. You get way more angle with speed cross tires over drag tires, but your control's a lot less. So, for instance, I got too much angle. I just dropped my drift suspension to a green instead of a blue. That's going to give me less angle when I'm turning. Or even speed cross, you just chuck on showcase suspension. You can see it still has way too much. Start losing it momentum. So change this up to a purple showcase suspension. It's going to give me way more grip and less angle. If you're going for more points, go speed cross tires. Not really good for night though. I wouldn't suggest running speed cross tires when you're doing night drifting. Run drag tires. It's gonna give you a lot more control. So that angle's not as aggressive. Still lets you slide a lot, but just the angle's not going to want to oversteer too much, understeer too much. And then throttle control will give you that rubber band effect. So playing with your R2 is how you pretty much milk your points. I'll do one with the blue suspension. And then you see that you're just dropping your high speed and acceleration. The lower level you are, the less heat you're gonna want to run. So you can, if you run every night. Yeah, let's go night. If you run Lizard Bite, Comet, and Snake Trial, you can run each race until you get 8,000 rep each. You'll have around about 1 mil, and you'll have heat 5. And you can pretty much just bounce to a safe house. But during those races, there's always going to be cops. So spawning points for Lizard Bite. When you start Lizard Bite, there's always a cop that spawns around this area. Where's this other petrol station? Yeah, near this petrol station, underneath the billboard. And you'll also get cops that usually spawn around this area, which is the underpass that you go under. Then the higher you level, the more you can milk him the rep. So a good run to do is Lizard Bite. Then make your way out to Comet. Comet finishes down here near the city. There's a dirt road that takes you straight to this drift trial. Do that drift trial. If you make your way down to this drift trial down here, you can pretty much restart this race, and as long as you don't have cops, you spawn right next to the garage. So that's a safe way to farm drift events. And then these two events here are just Lizard Bite split up. So you're going to do Lizard Bite halfway backwards, and then the end part the other way. So what are we running now? Running blue drift suspension, drag tires. Let's go sport brakes. We're doing blue speed cross. Let's change that to purple. So all you do, if you want more grip, change, like, lower your mod from a purple to a blue or a green, and that's the same with differential and suspension. Always keep your drag tires on, or your speed cross tires.
Had your chance.
Engaging the suspect. This fool's asking for it.
Some details on the target would be helpful.
They're driving the Mazda RX-7.
Wake up. We've got one of our guys in a pursuit.
Even with these builds, you don't even need to use handbrake. So you can tap brake and that will initiate your drift. So this numpty doing, get out my way, copper. But yeah, just tapping your brake before you enter a turn will give you that initiation, and then yeah, what is it, oversteer or understeer, will give you more points. And then just playing with R2 will rubber band you further away from your corner. So the more you accelerate, the more grip you're gonna have. The less you accelerate, the less grip you have.
Chasing our tails here. Pursuit's over.
Come on! I was just playing around. If I knew it wasn't just screwing with him, I'd actually go all in.
Then if you're getting oversteer, handbrake will bring you back into center. Handbrake rubber bands you back from whatever way you're turning.
You want making this easy on yourself.
Ah, found our numbskull again. Let's not let him get away this time.
Previous suspect has been located and we're taking up pursuit again.
Winky boy, get out of the way, trying to drift you.
Do I have to do everything myself? Send some extra hunters.
Reinforcements are headed your way.
This is easy, like a 600. Like your score will easily be 600,000, 700,000. If you want more score, you chuck speed cross on and it's gonna get like a mil with them. With speed cross tires. But your control over your car is gonna be a lot less than if you got drag tires on. Then always keep your live tune. Brake to drift. You don't want gas to drift.
Gotta block their way forward.
Bloody piggies. That's a very basic tune to go, just speed cross, diff, drift or showcase suspension, and then pretty much no brakes. It's the way to go. Then if you're going for high heat but you're still doing drifting, you just lower your mod to a sports or a pro. Sports and drift or whatever, sports mod or a street mod I think it's called. Green or blue. Yes, what was that? 715,000. The target scores. You can pretty much do your drift races in grip cars. If you're going for high scores though, you're gonna have to change. You just want less grip, or you just want more angle. So if a car's got way too much angle, you can even run a speed cross differential, and then if you want to be able to drift but you don't want to be sliding around too much, then you can chuck a track suspension on that's blue or green, and then you'll still be able to hit these scores, but you just won't have as much an aggressive angle. This build will get you 3 stars on all drift events though. Go get the 180 out.
tougher out there.
I was thinking of going for a drive later, so shout now if you want something.
So having the same build as the RX-7, it's going to give me more acceleration, but my grip's going to be less. So if you want to have more points, you put your purple on. But if you still want to, if you want to just be on the drift line, you want to have more traction on road, then you just change to a blue mod. So blue speed cross over the purple. Your live tune, always high sensitivity, lowest downforce, and drift style wants to be brake. The RX-7 got a 715,000. Go see how much this makes us. See, this cop always spawns around the same spot. Always spawns in the same spot.
I can't see the subject. I don't know where they went. CSX. Gonna make them pay for showing up here.
Chase in progress. I want this driver taken out.
I've lost visual on the subject vehicle.
Spread out and search for that vehicle. They can't have gotten far. Lost them. I'm calling it off.
Damn it. We ain't gonna find them if we stop looking. Now they're back for more.
Everyone's still awake? Good. We've picked up our chase from the previous suspect. Get in there.
I'm gonna make short work of this punk now that I'm here.
My car just got knocked out.
Get out there and find that damn car. Chasing our tails here. Pursuit's over.
Even when you're in the league, it's never easy.
Hey, park it up. Take a load off.
If you are running speed cross tires, change your differential usually to a showcase. It'll give you a less angle than the grip. I meant the drift suspension will make it easier to control. But going grippy tires with the drag tires, drift suspension, speed cross diff is super basic drift build. Doing a showcase differential will just give you more grip. That's pretty much the way to look at it. And you won't be redlining as much, so your gear ratio will be a bit different. The live tune again will always be high sensitivity, low downforce, rate to drift. We got 700,000 with the RX-7. We got 450,000 with the 180, same build. We'll see how much we get with the 350Z.
I'm taking off after a Nissan 350Z. Gonna make him remember this chase.
One of the officers in a pursuit. Get in on the fun before it's over.
Gotta do what I can to get him over to the shoulder. I need to request backup on my position.
There's nobody else available right now, so hang in there.
Just gonna soften him up a bit.
You're gonna be in last place after I'm through with you.
Suspects no longer in
Yeah, these Oinky boys are a bit annoying, eh? Get off our case, I'm just trying to have some fun.
Start searching.
It's not even street racing. What's the score? Yeah, so we got 649,000 with 649,000 with the 350 on the same setup. We got 450,000 with the 180 just because of the gears are a bit more stubborn. And then with the RX-7 we got 700,000. And that's all with the same build. And it's just because all the cars will change, have different angle, and the gear ratio is a bit different. So if you've got the 180, you might want to put down a gearbox or put it up, and then you could even run speed cross tires instead of drift tires. That will give you more of a score. So if I ran the same race with speed cross tires instead of drag tires, I'd get more of a higher score. I'd get 500,000 to 600,000 instead of 400,000 to 500,000. Then depending if you want more grip, you just lower your mod. So if you got purple mods, change it to a blue mod, and vice versa. If you want less grip, you change to a higher mod. So elite or purple over blue or green. And then if you're using hypercars like supercars that come stock more grippy, then you'd go more speed cross parts and higher drift suspension rather than your showcase and purple, or like your blue, go over purple, something that's more aggressive. Just say RX-7 is better for drifting. RX-7 is easier to drift, but like the Nissan you can get, what am I running now? So with blue drift suspension, elite drag tires, speed-cross purple differential, and no brakes, so sport brakes, you'll get from 500,000 to 600,000 in your score with the 350Z. If you're using the RX-7, you'll get around the 700 mark, so 600 to 700 you could go for a mil. And then with the 180 you're going to be lessening your score just because it's a bit more grippy, that car. But then changing something like the tyres, so if I've run drift tyres on all of them, if you change to speed cross tyres, your score's going to go up automatically just because you got less grip on road, so your score goes up faster. In my opinion though, the Nissan's funner to drive though. I can show you a couple of builds. Done a build with every engine for these cars, so like a V8 build, V10 build, or a V12 build, then a V6 build, or flat 6 build. And then they all vary in how much points you got, or you will get. After I end the stream, I'll post a whole bunch of builds in the description that I've posted before in the previous video. I'll post them all under in the description. If you try different ones, or if you got a V6 or a V8, you can reference the build list. People argue that the RX-7's the best drift car, but depends on your driving style as well. Another trick is changing your dead zone. So if you go into your settings, where is it? Control the dead zone. So you changing this will give you a higher sensitivity. So if you've got like no dead zone, you'll be able to get a higher angle and a faster angle. So like you'll be able to transfer from left to right a lot quicker than if you got a higher dead zone. So if I'm running 9, if I do a race with 9, my dead zone at 9%, I'll get less score than if I'm running it at like 2.5 or 3 or whatever. If you have it at 0, it just means that every time you touch your controller, like, yeah, it's a lot harder to control. Or just lowering it from, I think the standard's 8 or 9%. Lowering it to 250s, 2.5 is hectic. Then that's just going to do pretty much the same as this steering sensitivity. So if I have it in the middle and I change my dead zone, my sensitivity is going up. Then if you have it all the way up and you still want more angle, or you want to be able to turn faster, just change your dead zone and that'll give you more score.
Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's tough.
Let's show you one of these other builds.
Now, all this time and you never bring us back donuts or pizza or nothing.
How can I do this? So this is with the V6. This is pretty much the same build, but it's got a higher level because I've got showcase suspension on instead of drift, and that just gives me, it's easier to control, and then you can milk your points easier. But your dot's going to be closer to road, so you just watch that square. You always want that dot to be just underneath, halfway in between road and drift. If you want more points, then you go close to drift, but you can have more angle and less grip. But more points if you can control your speed. And then just running no brakes makes it easy to control because you can brake in, like you can pretty much hold down your brake in a drift and you'll still be able to keep your speed up, but it gives you more control over your angle. You can see same build on the 350 and the same build on the 180, but my traction's lower on the 180 but my level's higher, so it's got better acceleration and better top speed or whatever. And then same with the RX-7, it's the same build but you got different level again, and the drift dot's right on, like your performance dot is right on the middle of drift. And then you just base your build off how much. So I run all drift events I run at night usually. So the higher my stats are and the closer I'm to level 4, the easier it is to like outrun the police and keep up my speed. When I have time, I'll definitely come back to it. 180 is a good car, especially for night. Like the 180 is faster than the RX-7 and the 350Z. Like it's way easier. You can do a 3mm wrap night in the 180 as a drift build. What do I have here on this one? So this is for farming drift events. The way I've set it up is so that I have over 400. I've got the most acceleration I can get and the most top speed. So you want your top speed to be, that's in kilometers, so 378 kilometers. If I hang at that speed, then the cops, like if I'm on a straight road, if I get to 378 and sit there, the cops will just pretty much leave you alone. Like they just slow down. And then I'm running on-road suspension instead of drift because I don't want as much angle. So if I go over here, I've got less acceleration, and that's just because of my suspension's on road instead of drift. Then even lowering it to a green. So if you look at the square, I'm past the drift line, going closer to off-road. If I change it just to a blue suspension, to green suspension over blue, it'll bring me closer into the center to race. And if I lower my differential from a purple speed cross to a blue speed cross, it will put me on that line. But it's going to lower your acceleration. Showcase is good if the car's got heaps of angle, but like you won't be getting as many points as if you've got like the speed cross differential that's blue. It'll be better, and it will still give you a bit more grip. Then same with your drift. So if I chuck showcase on, it'll give me less angle and more grip, and it'll just take me just past that line. So I'll be in that in between the road and drift where you want to be. And same with your gearboxes. So lowering your gearbox usually gives you more acceleration, and then your gear ratio is just better. I'll give you an example on one of these cars. Because the Skyline comes stock with more grip. Yeah, because this comes with more grip, you can chuck on, like for this I've got green drift differential or blue drift differential. And that's because if I have speed cross on, my car's just too slow. And then I'm always trying to keep up to level 400. So most of the drift builds will always be plus 400 if I'm farming drift events. But for instance, this build I've got speed cross tires on, just because the car handles a lot better than the other cars. So instead of having drag tires on, you can chuck on speed cross tires, and it handles about the same. Drift suspension. I've got drift differential. Go drift will just give you more angle. Speed cross will give you like less grip, a little bit less angle. Can see the difference over here. So you got both are 400, but one's got drag tires and one's got speed cross tires. Then you can see the power difference and the high speed is different. So if I've got drag tires, my high speed's better, my power's better, and my acceleration's the same, just because the car's pretty quick. But then overall, the white car's going to be harder to drift, and the purple car's going to be easier to drift. And then same with the 350s. The X375, it's got 393. Better grip, higher, so I'm better off if I'm farming more rep. You're better off having a higher level in your car. But then you'd probably get more speed. I meant more points with the car that's level 375 over the one that's 393. And the same with the 180s. So both level 400. By having on-road suspension will give me better acceleration than having the drift suspension on the other one. So it's just finding that middle ground. I think I've got a couple of the cars I can show. Here's another Skyline. So these will all have different engines as well. Usually the same setup. The only thing you'll be changing is usually the tires. So this one has speed cross tires, so my level drops a lot more. So do my stats. Same with the purple. And then this has got more of a road tune. You get at least high speed, the acceleration's higher and everything else. Do I have any other cars? Yeah, top drift cars are probably the 350 or the RX-7. 180 is good too. 180 is better for night because you get a higher level. Your stats are always better. Show another one. It's the Heritage. And then best engine's usually a V6 or V8. So you can see the stats in this as well. So a car that's less grip will get you more points, but will be harder to control. And the one with a higher level will be faster, but might get less points. So I'll go through build setup. Alright. So this is a V8. Showcase suspension. Drift tires. Speed-cross-differential. If I wanted more angle, I'd put drift suspension on over this over the showcase. Drag tires. Yeah, so this one's got drag tires. So I'll do a run in each of the Nissans, and then I'll show you the builds. It's 500,000. Yeah, so you'll get your oversteers usually just because you're running drift parts. So drift parts aren't the best for drifting. If you've got like off-road parts and speed cross, it's going to give you more traction off-road but less traction on-road. So it won't increase your like the aggressiveness of your angle or anything like that, but it will give you less traction, and then that's how you want. So you will have better control over a car with Just say I've got drift suspension, like drift everything, drift tires, and drift differential. You're not going to have any control over the car, but it's going to put you as far to the drift section as you can. But if you can balance out your differential, so if you put speed cross differential with showcase suspension, and then you've got drift tires, which will give you your grip, you're going to have more control, and your points and the ball that shows you where your performance is when you're in your menu, that will be pretty much always in the same spot. So it's about finding the middle ground. So this build was showcase suspension, drift tires, and speed cross differential. I think the engine was V8, yeah, V8. Then if we go grab our another one, so that was worth this build of 500,000. Yeah, 100%. Just a stitch up. It's a prank.
It's like half the racers on the street don't even remember what we've done for the city.
A lot of people hate drifting in this game just strictly because they're putting drift build, like they just think that the drift parts are the best for drifting. Alright, so the other one was a V8. This is a V6. Got purple showcase instead of blue showcase. Still got drag tires. And still got the speed cross differential. The only thing different is it's a V6 instead of a V8, and I've got purple suspension instead of blue suspension. Do the same track. Keeping in mind that this is going to be a higher level. The black car that I was just using had a lower level car overall. I think the other one was 370, this is 390. The other one was even less grippy than this. The stats were worse. Had a bigger engine, this got a smaller engines and the stats are better. Yeah, I got a mic all good. I don't like seeming like I'm schizophrenic and talking to myself. Understeering is what gives you your points as well. So like when you're countering when you're going into your turn, the faster you counter your turn, the faster your points are going to travel up. Yeah, so we've almost, yeah, we got almost 100,000 more than the last car. Yeah, 600,000 instead of 500,000.
No matter how bad it gets out there, at least we ain't gotta worry about Mercer no more.
Let's do another example. So I'll do it with the skylines. Start off with this one. This is a V8 blue-showcase-suspension, drag tires, and a green differential that's drift over speed cross. Just because this car needs more angle, has less angle, so you want more drift parts than speed cross parts. So we've got showcase. If we wanted even more angle, you'd go drift. You can see it moves that dot down closer to the drift mark, but you're going to lose a bit of speed. You'll be able to see that these turning isn't not as aggressive as that 350. And my points aren't going to go up as much because I'm not understeering as much as I can. Because the car doesn't want to flick out as much. you the difference between drag tires and speed cross tires.
Coffee machine's broken.
So this was blue showcase. If I wanted more angle, I'd drop it to a drift suspension instead of showcase. But I'm going to be losing those stats, so it's going to be making it slower. Drag tires. I've got a green differential. If I wanted my gear ratio to be more aggressive, I'd just put on a blue. I'm going to be losing my stats. Or you go speed cross, but again you're losing your stats. If we go over here, this car's got pretty similar stats. So this is 8, 9, 10, 10, 10. This is 8.4 and then 9. Acceleration still 10. But it's blue drift suspension. We've got speed cross tires instead because we could see that before the car didn't want to turn as much because of those drift tires. And then we've got a blue drift differential to make the gearing more aggressive than having the green. And you can just see that the difference is the green gives me a little bit more higher speed, but it doesn't actually change my higher top speed. It's just saying that if I had green differential, I'm going to hit my top speed quicker than if I had the blue on. You can see it, it's a lot more aggressive than having the drag tires on. Pretty much everything else was the same, except for the speed cross tires. I think this is a V6 as well instead of a V8, or a flat 6. Speed cross tires is going to help me link up my drifts together more so than the drag tires. So it'll give you more grip on your exits and stuff and your entries than the speed cross, but having speed cross will make it easier to transfer from left to right. Thank you, my G. These are all easy builds. Anyone can. All these cars will drive the same. They're super easy to control. You can still pump Like if you still want to get your heat races done, all these cars are safe to do your heat races in as well. And then this car over the 350, you're not getting as much points, but it's a lot more smooth. And a lot easier to predict what's gonna, like, where you're going. So we doubled the score of the last car with drift tires, and pretty much the same build. Yeah, it's the R. I think it's the R32, but with the R34 body kit, just to confuse you. Now we'll get this black skyline out, and I'll show you the difference. So the next one will be under 400 gear, not gear score. The car will be under level 400. So the first one was 400 with drag tires and a V8. It was super grippy. This one's a V6 or a flat 6. Oh, forged 6. With speed cross tires instead. You can see that because it had those speed cross tires, it's put me on the line of drift. Because I've got drag tires on this and showcase suspension, it's brought me closer to the road. And then this car's got a V8 with speed cross tires, blue-drift-differential, and blue-drift-suspension. This is the same build as the purple car. It's just instead of having a forged 6, I've got a V8. And the first car had drag tires instead of speed cross tires. Don't use drift tires. Drift tires are trash. Low key trash. The first car we got 200,000 points, second car we got 400,000 points. And this will be in between. And then because I'm using speed cross tires, I'll use a drift setup on my suspension and differential, or showcase instead of speed cross. That's just going to keep you in the drift to road setup instead of it being more off road. See again, it's nowhere near as slippery as the car that we just drove. It's the same setup completely, just the engine different. So a lot more stubborn than that purple build. And then that's just because of the engine mods are different. The actual engine's different. So you're better off going a V6 or Forge 6 or Flat 6 over the V8s and the V12s and etc. But the only thing is, you're gonna be, the lower the engine, if you're lowering your parts into the speed cross or off-road or drift, you're gonna be losing that level. Yeah, so that was in between both the past two builds. So keeping that base set up, you want to keep drift suspension or showcase suspension, drag tires or speed cross, drag tires or speed cross tires, and differential wants to be drift if you want more angle, or you want speed cross. But if you've got speed cross tires and you've got a speed cross diff, that circle on your performance will be further to the off-road section rather than on-road or drift. So the first car we did was 8.9, 10, 10, 10. Second car was 8.4, 9, 10, 10. And the bar's right on the drift. We've got this one that's 380 instead of 400, and you can see that all the stats are a bit less. So that's so much harder to drift. And it's a bit closer to the road than the drift build. Get moving closer to that road section. It's on 7.384. Same with the Nissans. So I got more points with the 393 build than the 385 build, even though the 385 build is close to the drift and the purple one's closer to the road, but it's further onto the far right of the box. You got better acceleration, better power, and better high speed. Always starting off with that bass tune. Drift suspension or showcase suspension, no brakes, drag tires or speed cross tires, then showcase differential, drift differential, or speed cross, depending on what tires you're running and what suspension you're running. But they're the three options. And then depending on what car you're buying, some cars will have more turning angle, so you'll have a more aggressive build than one that already has more turning angle, as like the RX-7 does in the 350Z. And then your live tune's always the same: super high sensitivity, low downforce, and brake to drift. That's pretty much it. Thank you, Max. You're a legend. I'm gonna leave a build list in the description. I'm gonna end the stream here, guys. Okay. I'll do a couple more builds later. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.